Hey everybody, welcome back to Sight in the Dark. My name is Krista and I'm here to help you squeegee off that first eye. So today we're going to get straight into the topic of the Emperor card as seen here in the Rider-Waite deck and here in the Shadowscapes deck. I find this one has very lovely artwork. I will show you the other cards just right off the bat. So the ones that we already covered. So here we have the Chariot from my first video. This is just to give you an idea of the symbolism in all these cards, their similarity. So if you go back and watch my first video about what was it, Gemini and Cancer, the Chariot and the Lovers, there we have the crab at the bottom denoting Cancer, and the two opposing forces within the self that is under control of the chariot driver. And then we have the Lovers, and we have the sun, the solar sphere. Oh my goodness, guys. I'm sorry about the lighting. Okay, we have the solar sphere. I'm just going to have to be right-handed today. And we have the two people beneath the solar sphere, of course. And then we have the Empress, which I did the other day. the video before this one when we go in order. Lots of beautiful imagery. There's some butterflies in this artwork as well. And she is very spring. She's got a very spring feel. And she is actually, her wreath or yoni or female apparatus is encompassing the solar apparatus, the male apparatus, or the lingam, if you want to put it that way. And then we have my video from the Leo and Virgo when I was doing the Hermit, the Strength card, and the Sun. So here's the Sun. Oh yeah, I forgot, right-handed today. Just to give you an idea of that artwork. And the Strength card, where we have both Virgo and Leo here. And the Virgo, so Hermit, where we have our own illumination within. Notice that's illumination, not lumination. So today, just to go back to the Emperor card here in this deck, we still have the horns of Aries and the ram, and the Emperor is number 4, and he always has he generally has a sphere. Yes, he has a sphere in here too. Sometimes he has an ankh. Oh yes, on one of his horns he has an ankh, and he is in red. So I know in my other video I'm wearing red, guilty, but today I am wearing hematite, which is a metal, an iron oxide. So iron has to do with Mars. And I know that I am not going exactly with the Tree of Life here. I'm going more with the correspondence of the planets and the zodiac signs whenever it comes to the cards. So although the numbers differ, and I may get into this, I probably will get into this later in a different series, but for this series, the tarot series here, I am going to go through, I'm just looking down at Promethea, the book that I mentioned earlier. I'm going to go through the Qliphoth and the Sephiroth in correspondence to their planets, prompted by the correspondence of the planets to the zodiac signs, prompted by the association of the zodiac signs to the cards of the major arcana. So that is why the Emperor, I'm going with number 5, Gabora, in the Tree of Life, as far as that Sephiroth goes, because of Mars, Aries, iron, red, all of those associations, even though it is the number 4, okay, denoting the male principle. Now, okay, so when we right-handed, guys, okay, when we go for the Emperor, you see he is in red. That is a symbolism of Mars. The Ankh that he is holding as a staff. It's a Rosicrucian symbol. Also, if we want to go with the Egyptian or the Cometian symbolism. So yeah, note guys, Egypt is not the original name of Egypt. Chem is. Khem. So Cometian, when I say Cometian, I mean ancient Egyptian. So we have the symbol of, it's a symbol of life as well. We have him holding on to the staff portion because he is more like a king, like an emperor. It means one that has dominion over form. So the Ankh, the circular part of the Ankh, which you have some characters holding the ring, which is a little bit more symbolic, but he's holding the staff because he's in the world of forms now. Okay, so there are the top is to denote how life is basically like the circle of life, if you want to put it that way. We're going to hail back to the Lion King again with Simha, not Simba. And we are holding on to the portion that we have under control. So this guy, he represents sulfur in alchemy, which is a triangle atop a cross. So any of our symbols are planetary symbols. When we have a cross, that's the world of forms, and that is the world of the material. And the shapes that sit atop of it signify that that particular element, in its pure exaltation, in its pure existence, in its haecity, its isness of isness, its pure essence, has dominion over the world of forms, so it can actually rock its essence rather than be controlled by it or be in any kind of delusion. So yes, I think I mentioned, yes, hematite is for iron. I'm also wearing red, and it's a cheat because I wore this shirt the other day. I should have wore orange or purple. But maybe I will switch up my wardrobe for a different day. Yes. So he's got the nice long beard. He is experienced. He has a crown. He is experienced. He has jewels in his crown. Now, there are certain artworks, there are certain tarot cards where the jewels that encrust his crown will be separated into 4 facets, and that is to denote that it is the number 4 of the Emperor, and he's in the realm of the material. It also denotes in different systems, such as the Thoth deck, for example, he would match up with the 4th sphere of the Tree of Life. I'm going to get that, just so you know what I'm talking about. So this is the Tree of Life. And the spheres, they go from the top to the bottom whenever we're talking the numbers. So he literally lines up with the sphere of Hesed. However, in this video, as I already explained, I'm going to go with Mars, which is sphere 5, which is sphere 5. So, just to keep going with this card here, he sits on a throne. He is an emperor, so he's got control of himself. He is very knowledgeable, and he's that fatherly figure. So he does what's good for the people based on his experience, all the experience that he has throughout life to get him there. And that's how he makes good decisions as well. So even though the people may not be okay with all of the decisions he makes the best decision for the highest outcome, the highest good of all. Whether people kind of bitch and moan on the ground or not, or are surprised by his actions and his decisions that he implements, it is for the highest good of all, including them. Because whenever we have some problems in life, it usually denotes that we need to examine something. Because ultimately, we're supposed to have problems so we push beyond our limits to grow. But the less the okay, how do I say it? The more and more you stop having problems, so the fewer problems you have, the more expansive you are, and the more deep you are, the less shallow you are, and the more understanding you have. So he definitely has a lot of understanding and a lot of mercy. So he makes those decisions, whether the people beneath him, so less wise than him, whether the people who are less wise than him, because this is about wisdom, the emperor, whether or not people less wise than him like what he's doing. Kind of like if you're a mom or a dad, or even work with children in any capacity, you know that they should do certain things in order to acquire a certain outcome rather than an outcome that is ultimately upsetting for all. Like brushing your teeth, okay? Like they're gonna have to brush their teeth. Unless they have a spectacular diet in which brushing their teeth is not necessary. But eventually you're gonna have to brush your teeth. And if you don't, you're probably gonna get some cavities. Okay? Now, trying to get somebody who doesn't like brushing their teeth is not an easy task. They will whine and complain and try to gain power over what you're trying to do to them. Excuse me. Oh. And they even if they kind of suspect that it's a good thing, they still want to fight and buck and complain and kick and scream, or just, avoid it. Some kids just avoid it. But it is ultimately good for their teeth, and you can see ahead. You want to prevent cavities, which will save you money and time and effort trying to make a problem that has grown in the future from not taking these precautions a few steps back or taking care as a practice. And this is what this emperor knows all about. So that's how he can govern the people, which is the more material aspects of you, with a wisdom unparalleled. So he has the rams on his throne. So not only is he all in red, and has the symbolism for Mars, because he's related to Aries, but he has the straight up either ram's horns or the rams on his throne to denote his association with Aries. So we're going to pick it up from there and blend everything in as we go. So, what do you know about an Aries? An Aries is very strong-willed. They are persistent. They actually have kind of a soft side because they're just trying to do the best thing and everything. They can get insulted easily, but they're typically over it pretty quickly. So it's that whoosh, that first sim in Simsum. So if I want to explain what Simsum is, it's basically the double toroidal function of this universe. So the way things interact with each other and bring things into existence, that is the inward and outward force, if you want to think of it that way. And the Emperor has the first two letters in Tsar, so either TZ or TS associated with him. In the Hebrew alphabet, I forget the letter, it escapes me, but it's a TZ or a TS, where we get the words Tsar and Senator and Senior and, Emperor from. So that's how that is denoted here. Well, not here in this deck, but in other decks, which I'm just bringing some extra symbolism in for you to go along with the concepts I'm trying to explain right now. So he's one of the forces. The Empress would be the other force, the respective force. So if you can think of Aries as the light, that is what the parallel I'm drawing here is. So we have the masculine force, the masculine energy, which is positive. Not positive as in good or bad, just like female is not negative as in good or bad, but just a force one way and a force another way. So he is the convex force. So it's the positive rather than the negative. Positive rather than the negative. So seeing as how he's one of the forces of existence, he's the male, masculine force, the positive force, he gets things, a lot of things underway just by being himself, just like an Aries. So if you have any Aries in your life, or you have, if you are an Aries, or you know where your Aries in your chart is. Incidentally, mine is in my MC, so I have an Aries midheaven, the highest point in my chart. The house 10 of career. So in my career, I would be best serving myself and others by acting like an Aries. So taking all the Aries qualities within myself, that fire, and going forward as a positive and as a positive form. Okay, so bringing things whoosh into existence. Kind of like what I'm doing here with this channel. And hopefully we're brightening your day as we go along. So the Emperor now, he's got that wisdom. He knows what he is. He is. So Aries, that statement, I am, it's iron, it's strength, it's fire. It's all those things. It's that initial spark. It's those spring roots, those spring shoots that just shoot up. It's like coming up from the ground. I am. I am. It's the little individual I, not the me, which is kind of like a little bit more expansive than an I. But, oh goodness, I'm going to be right confusing. So now that I properly confused you with bringing up a topic that I'm going to bring up later, hopefully I've just planted a seed in the fertile soil of your mind or your Garden of Eden, where from those initial shoots will come, and I will stimulate some curiosity there. So Aries is I am, so I exist. You know that you exist. You're aware of your existence. You are that initial force, that male force. So positive force coming into existence. So the Emperor is in the world of form. So he embodies the world of form. So he is a form. Aries is a form. So when you're thinking of other spheres or other concepts, we have form and we have non-existence. So that's what I mean by that. He is form. Now, form can come in the form of a physical object. It could come in the form of a thought. So anything, well, anything. So thoughts are things. Thoughts are just different types of forms. They're forms on the etheric plane of existence. Thoughts can turn into physical things on this physical plane of existence. So when you have an idea such as Aries, I am. Then you bring in the fertile soil of Taurus, that Garden of Eden, and then we have the next sign, Gemini, which is I think. So now you think, therefore you are, or I am, therefore you think. I am, therefore I think. So here with Gemini, we have the first thoughts, until we do some work in Virgo to bring something into existence. So now we're way back at Aries, which is just that first form coming out. And he is the kind of like the king of existence. So the king of being existent. So the positive side of that, the positive appraisal of that is that, or the positive quality of that, the good thing about it is you are a form. You can create what you are. You can create yourself. You are aware of your existence and you care enough to do all those correct things. Not correct, all those right things, all those things that can bring yourself into fruition, into form, and either serve yourself, thereby helping others, or serve others, thereby helping yourself. Either way, there are more ways than that. You can serve yourself and help yourself, which expands out and has that type of ripple effect. Or you can serve others, which also helps others expand into their true selves, thereby helping you in return. So it is give and take in that order. So in order to give, you must exist. In order to exist, you must think you are. In order to think you are, you must exist. So that I am, that Aries quality. Now I'm going to scale back and talk about the Emperor again, and then we'll get into some of the negative sides, okay? So the Qliphoth, the shadow side of the Tree of Life, the shadow side of that strength sphere. So strength, Mars, okay? So the Emperor, when he's in his positive expression, he is fair, he is great, he is learned, he knows what to do, he is confident. Aries and Mars, that is all sorts of confidence. The Emperor, all sorts of confidence. So the shadow side of confidence can be absolute rigidity. So when you're in the world of forms, you are the archetype of forms. You can have rigidity if you have way too much ego. Now, ego is not a bad thing, but in this case, I'm using it to denote a bad thing. So you are absolutely fixated on how things should be and absolutely fixated on how you are. So when it comes to the Emperor, the negative side of that is being so fixated on how you are, how you think you should be, and how you know you are, that you don't leave any other possibility open. And then if you are so fixated on having your way, which is the right way or not, which is erroneous or not, when you are way too rigid, you can become cruel. So cruelty is the detriment of this position. So fixation can lead to cruelty, which leads to anger that is not righteous. So in here, just to give you a little, this is Promethea. by Alan Moore, and you will learn so much if you do decide to pick these books up. So we have the shadow side of the tree of life, the bark, if you want to call it that, and all the shells, which are empty shells of what the Sephiroth should be. So they're not spheres, they're shells. They're the Qliphoth. So in this realm, we have a demon called Asmodeus. And here he is a spider. So one way to think of these things, oh, and we have the symbols for Mars here, of course, the male symbol. So one way to think of demons of all kinds, especially in relation to the tree of life or the tree of death, is that demons are exactly what you need to focus on in order to realize that what you're focused on is not the truth. It's only the truth of the worst part of you now. So it's the truth of the worst parts of you now that you need to clear in order to transform that shell of what you are, of what you could be, into that sphere open of what you can be and what you truly are. So in order to turn cruelty based on being so fixated on how things should be and on how you are and how stubborn you are, and you don't want to change, in order to turn that around and flip that into strength, you need to be even more wise than you already are. So here, that's why the Emperor leads into the Hierophant from 4 to 5. So it goes from somebody who is fixated on forms to somebody who can see the religious and the spiritual aspects of the whole thing with a greater view than what the negative expression of the Emperor has. So whenever you learn how or learn that your anger is just from powerlessness, you realize how strong you actually are. And when you are strong, you don't need to be angry. When you are strong, now there's a difference between righteous anger and just your run-of-the-mill negative kind of anger, okay? Righteous anger is completely different. I'm talking about the negative, common vernacular anger. So that type of anger stems from feelings of powerlessness, feelings of being out of control due to feelings of powerlessness. And then anger that burns. So that's why in the Qliphoth, it's called the burners or the flaming ones, because you just burn in anger. You seethe with so much passion. And that's why in the Bible, once again, if you know how to read it, and by all stretches of the imagination, I don't know the full esoteric meaning of the Bible, but I'll tell you what I do know is that it's better to marry than to burn with passion. Okay, that's not talking about sex and marriage and heterosexuality and all that bullshit. That's talking about you taking your masculine principle that if you were only in that form and marrying it with your feminine principle, your water, if you bring those together, you will no longer be burning in passion. So that's why it's better to marry yourself than to burn in anger, with these demons showing you that your anger isn't actually righteous anger, that this anger stems from feelings of powerlessness. And when you realize that you are actually an emperor, You are empowered. You've got your shit on lock. You have control of your kingdom. And wise control at that. You do not need to be angry over the little nitpicky things, no matter how big you imagine them to be, no matter how huge and disempowering they were to you in the past. And that's how you turn cruelty. Okay, think of Cersei's, I think that's what her name is, in Game of Thrones. She was cruel because she was the negative expression of the Emperor. But in order to become Jon Snow, you have got to just be that strength. A real emperor, a real king, the true king. He is a true king, as in true as an arrow, that kind of true. Not deviating from his kingliness, not deviating from his emperorness, in full strength, rather than that Lannister type of strength, which is just all about whipping people down and manipulation and all the things you need to use whenever you do not actually have real confidence and you try to push it on other people because you are just so weak. So when you're no longer weak, when you have eaten your demons, this spider demon thing, he shrinks down, let me find it, he shrinks down into the form of a man. He's still a demon here, only he's much friendlier, isn't he? Why does he go from this to this? Because you change. And when you change and become empowered, when you realize that you never were not empowered, when you have pure, real confidence, then you see those demons not as huge, insurmountable hurdles, not as creatures that bear down on you, but just a reflection of yourself, a man, the emperor. Whether you're a man or a woman here in this physical existence, you see a reflection of yourself, which is somebody who's calm, cool, collected, and has everything down. Confidence. Use the confidence of an Aries wisely. Embody that, be it. And you will be the emperor of your world, of your life. So with that, I am going to bid you adieu for today. Remember to like this video and subscribe. The more likes that it gets and the more subscriptions that it gets, the more views it gets, and the more I can pass this type of information and change the whole motherfucking world. As somebody with an Aries MC, an Aries Midhaven, should do. So I am Krista. This has been Sight in the Dark Tarot, the Emperor episode. I will wish you a good night, and I really appreciate you tuning in. Remember, subscribe and share. Have a great day.